The last thing that happened in the previous session is I was trying to get some answers from Fidget, there we go, about what she remembered about everything. Do you remember the ship that Earl had been injured on, been with, the crew that he was with? Know anything about the Zebulon Harding or the group that they were with, or just anything? Did any of everything that Earl had found out, did any of that ring a bell? Before she could answer, an alarm went off, and somebody came on Fidget's comms saying, "Alexis, we got an energy signature aboard that ship that just docked. It's one of the wisps. It's one of the creatures." So on and so forth. And she turns to him and says, "What is aboard that ship? What did you bring here?" "What are you carrying, Earl Baxter?" Stop me if you've heard that question before, as a recurring theme question there. That was the last thing that we had, or previous session, begin our session somewhere around there. So where do we start with those? We open the scene in that same hallway that we'd seen Earl and Alexis, fancy Fidget, the hallway in this Lagrange station that we'd seen them in. Right at the airlock, and the airlock cycles open, and we see the spacesuit that K is in. Usually, that we see K. Let me get. And we see the spacesuit, and so standing there, this like heavily, it's this suit, but the main view glass has been like shaded or shielded in some way. Mostly, there's just a little bit of that the energy signature of K getting out, and are there restraints? I guess there's restraints. They have restraints on it. Earl's standing there next to it, and it's kind of helping guide it along. It's kind of coming forward, or maybe not. Maybe it's just, yeah. Let's just say it's coming in, and they're in the hallway now. That we've got like half dozen guys with guns that are all like, and we see them all like, we get that shot right over the the guy just carefully eyeing over the sights of the gun at this thing, and at K, and he's kind of hesitate. K is kind of hesitant, and then kind of comes in, is moving very slowly, and everyone's like tense. And there's at least one other like uh, person here that's like some kind of authority figure. Let's grab someone for that. This guy, sort of in the background, looking pensive, looking tense, as Kay shuffles forward. And it's a very tense scene. The background music is tense. The mood somewhat ruined when Earl just lets out this kind of like snort of laughter, followed by more laughter. Everyone kind of pauses. Kay kind of. This guy here, who I can't remember when I did this image. I think I must have worked him out, but I came up with a name for him and everything. As the Lagrange station administrator ages ago, so we'll set him off to the side. We'll keep him around. He'll be back later. But he kind of turns a little bit. He just kind of pauses and he kind of turns. "Is there something funny, Mr. Baxter?" I mean, you're all definitely taking this very serious. So I hate to put. I just. What exactly does any of this do for you? Does it make you feel safer? Because it shouldn't. If anything, everything that you've decided to add to this particular scenario should make you feel considerably less safe. Is that a threat, Mr. Beck? No, it ain't no threat. I'm just looking at the situation, and I'm trying to figure out why you're taking something and trying to make it worse. Would you care to explain? Sure. Happy to. What you have here, half dozen gentlemen and ladies, sorry, with high-powered anti-personnel weaponry designed to pierce through certainly spacesuits, or ruin the day of anybody who's not wearing them. I'm presuming maybe not body armor, since you wouldn't want it to pierce the hull of the ship. So, but it's still definitely a spacesuit. Hey, go through a spacesuit in no time. Am I right? Am I right? They don't answer, but Haid does answer and nods. Well, let me tell you about how I met Kay. Kay, do you mind if I tell this story? No, Earl. Please go right ahead. I enjoy hearing this story. Well, you see, I was in space, and Kay was out there in the great beyond, in the black, and decided that we looked a little interesting, and came sailing into the ship right through the front viewport. Now, that was not good for me, and so not necessarily good for the electronic systems on the ship, but they were considerate of the situation And after a quick bit of cobbling that you see before you in the form of this suit, I was able to get them into a situation where they were not leaking deadly radiation all over the place, which worked, if you'll forgive me, because K allowed it to work. Have you ever been on a space? Of course you've been on a spaceship. You're aware that they're good at blocking radiation, are you not? External energies. K sailed right through it like it wasn't even there. So this thing here is meant to protect me from just his. It'd be as if I was on board with some alien, if you forgive the science fiction, some sort of alien that breathed poisonous gases. One of us needs to be in a suit. Am I right? You are. Well, it's the same thing. They're not trying to do anything, but it's just the way they are. It's not healthy for me. I could be in a suit all the time, or they could be in a suit all the time, and he offered to be the one in the suit. If he didn't want to be in the suit, he wouldn't be in the suit. And if the suit was damaged, it wouldn't do any good anymore, if you see what I'm saying. And he's made out of energy. Folks, what do you think a bullet is going to do? What do you think a bullet's going to do to them? Don't take too long, because the answer is short. Now, what do you think a bullet's going to do to the suit that is protecting you from the situation? I'm not saying he's dangerous any more than anything that breathes poisonous gas is dangerous, but it ain't his fault. It's just what he is, what they are. God damn it. I'm going to assume Earl is better at pronouns than I am today. So let me ask you, when I look at this situation and I see this amazing creature who has saved my life a damn sight more often than any of you have, in a suit that they are wearing strictly to protect everyone else here, and all the people that are scared of them, wielding weapons that can only harm themselves. Now, why am I laughing, do you think? Mr. Haight, why do you think? What I'm doing here is I gotta look at my moves, but I think I'm gonna do a compel here. My goal is to I think it's pretty clear what my goal is, to get these yahoos to back down a little bit because they're acting like fucking idiots. All right, compel. Trying to persuade someone or make them an offer. Envision your approach. Charm, pacify, encounter, encourage, or barter. Charm? Threaten or incite. I mean, technically, pointing out that their own idiocy is going to do more harm to them than to whoever they're threatening. I mean, technically that's threatening, but I'm not threatening them with violence. I'm pointing out that they're about to do something incredibly stupid, or they're only setting themselves up to do something incredibly stupid if they take any action on the threat that they're making. Lie or swindle. Oh, I don't like any of these, honestly. But let's say that it falls broadly under the heading of pacify, which would make it a heart roll. Fair enough? Sounds fair enough. So we're going to end up rolling heart for this. But I am going to give myself the benefit of at least having Fidget on my side. That gives me a +1 because they're only a companion thus far, and they hear the logic of my statement here, and they have any kind of sway, which they appear to somewhere on the station. They can maybe back me up a little bit on this thing, and we're going to attempt to talk some sense into these yahoos as we proceed. What happened? Let's find out. That is, well, it's not great. Let me get down here to the, we gotta scroll all the way. And we're gonna let's get the dice box back up here so we can all see it. And that is unfortunately a weak hit, because I rolled a 10 on one of the challenge dice. But it is a weak hit. So we'll see what we got here. Take a look at the move again. Compel. I'm having a little trouble getting rid of Earl's accent when I'm not actually speaking as Earl tonight, so you'll just have to forgive me for that one. And the sheet seems to have locked up. There we go. Compel. On a weak hit, they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions, but their agreement comes with some sort of demand or complication. Envision their counter offer. Some sort of demand. You know what's interesting about, well, let's think about that in here a second. Okay, so now Kay, to his credit, is just being very patient and sitting up here and not really making my life too difficult. Mr. Haight, the Lagrange station administrator, thinks about this for a second. Says, you appear to know a great deal about these creatures, Mr. Baxter. Well, I wouldn't say I know a lot about them, but I've been traveling with Kay for a little while now, and I have cause to be familiar with the Tempests that are larger versions, call them cousins, to the type of being that he is. And I do know a fair amount. If you would concede to explain everything that you know about them so that we can understand them better, perhaps we can act in a more intelligent fashion. What do you mean exactly? We need to know everything about them, Mr. Baxter. What they want, what they're for, what their weaknesses are. Now, Kay's a friend of mine. I ain't gonna give you the keys of the castle with regards to harming my friend. We don't have any reason to harm your friend if, as you say, he has no desire to harm us. Well, Kay, what do you say? I hate these. So, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna have to test the relationship, I'm afraid. Because I feel as though this is a lot. There's a lot going on here. Now, I've done a lot for Kay, and I'm working to do even more for them, but stepping in with a bunch of other humans who are like Earl and not like Kay and telling them everything about them that he knows could be pretty scary. And I don't know how scary, and I guess this, to a certain extent, this skill check is also kind of an oracle to tell me whether or not Kay's actually especially worried about any of this and how they're taking it. So, with that in mind, let's take a look and see. We're going to test the relationship. It says if you have a bond with them, you get to add +1. I do not have a bond with them, which is a little worrisome. So we're just going to have to see where we get. That's a weak hit. Okay. 7 against a 7 and a 5. Weak hit, develop your relationship, but also envision a demand or complication as fallout of this test. Demand or complication. Kay responds and says, I trust you, Earl, and I trust that you can assure these people of your good intentions and our benign disposition. Once you have convinced them, I expect that they will be able to provide the help that we have been searching for. What's it talking about? Well, that comes with the explanation, doesn't it? Oh, how about this? I explain everything. You decide they're not a threat, you gotta help them out. No harm to the station. They are in need of some assistance. Now, the interesting thing about they is it can also be a plural pronoun. And Earl has not talked about the fact that about the other two beings on the ship, the two babies in the canisters, and what that entails. So, I'm not saying you have to commit to anything. I'm just saying if you decide they aren't a threat, then we expect a little bit of help. Within the bounds of what you're able to do, of course. Do we have a deal? At least some sort of tentative agreement, because, like I said, Kay here can leave whenever they want to. That'd be awkward for me, I'm sure. But the fact that he hasn't left is, I think, on its own, indication of its own good graces. So why don't we see a way clear to this? And just because of the way, I realize this is kind of coming at the whole thing sideways, but with regards to this is a demand of K that I'm putting on the administrator for the station, all that kind of stuff. But we're gonna roll with it. So we have a bunch of different things going on here. Develop your relationship. Okay, so this is develop your relationship, but also under develop your relationship, we also stood with them against hardship because it's a tense situation. So under connections, get K open here, and I am going to mark twice on K's relationship here for, man, we're almost getting within range of potentially accomplishing something with, oh man, I am scared of that one. I would hate to put this much work into K and then have it not end up being a bond. That would suck. So I'm more than a little leery of this whole situation. So there you go. All right, so we so we can kind of fast forward a little bit of this. Is all right. Well, let's get to it. You're gonna feel more comfortable if you're on my ship, or you want to go somewhere and talk here? Kay's coming with us, and we end up going to the same room basically that Fidget and I were talking on in the first place. So I'm gonna fast forward through this because we already all know all this stuff, right? Kay is this energy being. They're related to the Tempest that are sort of terrorizing the space lanes. My theory is that they are created in some fashion, probably old precursor tech in some way, shape, or form, in some sort of engineered fashion within the confines of the new star at Meridian Station. Meridian is capitalizing on this in some way. I think with some of the smaller ones, they capture them, and in some cases they're not able to, or eventually some of them get loose, and that's what the Tempests are. Maybe they're driven mad. Maybe that's just how they are. They're not communicative, as you can imagine. There has been some. Kay might have the means of talking with them, but I'm not convinced that isn't like Kay being like them being some sort of all-knowing, wise adult, and Kay being like a uppity teenager trying to talk to him. I'm not sure it would go very well. Is my point. The reason that Meridian appears to be interested in these creatures is they appear to have some means of helping people access precursor vaults. In some cases, they allow you to get anywhere near them based on the defenses of the vault itself. We've seen that on Glimmer. In some cases, having them nearby allows you to even sense that a vault's anywhere nearby. We've also seen that in that same system. We found K in the system where there was a vault in orbit around the planet and a bunch of dead ships. And K was a little insensible from this, but what they can remember of the situation was that Meridian had brought them there in a cage of some kind. And the circumstances shook out, possibly as a result of the actions of the crew of the ship that I'm now piloting that I've never met and don't remember, but possible that there was some sort of conflict there that resulted in K being released from the cage and Meridian fleeing. K doesn't quite remember, but that would follow. Meridian seems to have a very fond spot in their heart for trying to get a hold of as much precursor tech as they can. And for better or worse, K and creatures like them seem to be the key to that. Whether it was designed that way by the precursors, whether they were meant to be a key, or they were meant to be the only creatures that could access the things, and maybe they're the only ones that can survive the inside of the vault. Who knows? In any case, the Meridian system seems to be one that causes this to be created. And there's another place, this hypergiant, one long jump sort of due galactic north of here, that also seems to have been specifically designed, engineered, so to speak, to generate something similar to the Tempest that you've seen. And there's one there as well. But the whole system seems to be designed really to create those kinds of things. Generator, incubator. So, Meridian wants these. Wants to recapture K, wants to get their hands on other things like K. And I have set myself against them. Partly because they're assholes, and partly because I just think it's wrong. K's a living, thinking creature, and right to put him in a cage, enslave him, have him do your bit. It's just, we've got laws against that. Now, they only apply to people, but I think the spirit of the thing is the same. And as such, as I said, I've set myself against them. And I think it seems for different reasons, possibly, y'all have here. And what I've been trying to track down about my own personal history and my history with the Zebulon Harding seems to have brought me back here. So we were hoping that you might be able to help us with some of the situation, providing answers as to possibly my own history, and also help with some situations with K and those creatures like him. What creatures like him? Well, that's an interesting story, and I go on to explain about the two babies and how they're being used sort of as lanterns. They've been encased and right now stabilized, but my experience with them in the past is that they were essentially used as sort of lanterns to drive back the precursor defenses in various locations. And as I'm saying it, actually, I'm going to do a gather information. Let me see if Earl's as smart as I am. That's a low bar. Okay. I had a thought. Now, let's see if I'm going to introduce it to the game right now. Search for clues, ask questions, analyze evidence, do research, roll wits. Don't have any bonuses on this. We want to guess? Anybody want to guess? What do we get? That is a miss. That is a big miss. I'm almost tempted to leave this thing as a miss. On a weak hit, the information provides new insight, but also complicates your quest. Take +1 momentum. On a miss, your investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth. Well, complicates your quest and reveals an unwelcome truth are really just two different ways of saying the same thing, and probably indicates an order of magnitude in terms of difference. It's the same kind of thing. So do I keep my momentum? As you may have noticed, I really hate burning momentum just to get a weak hit. As you may have also noticed, you know what? I actually just thought of something here. I also have Fugitive. When you make a move, you can rely on your resourcefulness to improve the result to a strong hit. The hunter's closing on you. We haven't had that timer run for a while. We got an energy signature that they've been able to pick up at the station. We've got Meridian ships in system and they don't like us, and they're looking for us. And the Zebulon Harding is docked at the station. I figure all of that, and yeah, I feel comfortable with turning this roll into a strong hit and advancing my fugitive tracker. It isn't necessarily me being a fugitive, but I'm using my resourcefulness. Earl has put 2 and 2 together, but in the process of putting 2 and 2 together, we also see this. And I just now realized, given some connections and stuff, that it's possible that they have a whole suitcase full of these little canisters that hold these creatures. At least one. Well, how do you know that? I think they sent me to retrieve the goddamn thing. I just now realized what it was probably in the case. I'm not saying that's what's in the case. I'm just saying God, it's more than possible. Those things they've got more of those, they've got more of those little ones. God damn it. Now, it's still an unwelcome truth, but knowing it counts for something. But a little bit of a cutscene. It's like, God, how do we hand it over to them? Earl says something that's like, man, every time I think I start to figure out something about Meridian, it just seems like I just learned that they're one other. I find out something about them, and what I find out is they're another step ahead of me. And as I'm saying that, it's almost like a voiceover for me closing another bridge of one of the Meridian ships that's on deep patrol out here in the system, and like a someone signaling like the captain on the bridge or whoever the officer is, on deck, and rolling him over and pointing and seeing like the schematic of the station, and then a zoom in of the schematic of the Zebulon, and then a little like identification tag popping up off of the thing, and Zebulon Harding, and them immediately turning to the comms officer who's already going up to their headphone and doing something. So we see again. I'm docking up with a station that's got good defenses. They don't have enough people in the system right now to necessarily do anything about it, but say the noose is tightening once again. Meridian knows that we're here. They might not be able to do anything about it. They have a lock on our current location. Okay, that's fine. But that counts then as a hit. Wait a second. Where's my when you finish an expedition, dangerous or greater, in your starship, score a hit. This journey strengthens your ties to your ship and fellow travelers. You may mark a tick on your bond's legacy. I did not do that when I finished my trip. You can mark a bond on legacy. No? Bond's legacy. That's cool. I forgot to do that. Mark. That's slow. Man, that's slow. Okay. All right. So going back over to the moves for the gather information, a strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you follow, the action you have to take to make progress is made clear and vision what you learned. All right. Yeah, find out. I gotta figure out where that damn suitcase is at, where those creatures are, what they're doing with them. Path is made clear. Path is still horrible, but it's clear. It's a clear path. Thank goodness. Okay, so there's a whole bunch. Let's look at I want to look at the progress. Progress? No, vows. Let's go look at this. Get justice for the crew of the Zebulon Harding. I'll make a mark on that. It's not much. Haven't talked about that yet. Find a safe place for K. I'm gonna definitely mark that one. And save the small wisps from their misuse and help. So here's the situation. I've got two of these little guys on here, and I have the means of constructing a shielding device. Keeps them safe, keeps them healthy, doesn't harm K at all, and keeps everyone around them safe. I didn't have a means to cobble it together in the ship, manage to keep them stable, but they're not getting any stronger. I need your help with resources for that, so I need you to help these little guys. Babies. You call them babies, Earl. I need you to help the star babies. Help me help them so that we can, and that's all we're asking. If you want an ally in this, you could do worse than this. I'll understand if you don't want to keep them around. You're likely to draw the ire of Meridian. Oh, that's not going to be a problem. Yeah, what exactly why are they so hot after y'all? What is the deal? Why are they, what put you at loggerheads with those bastards? And the obvious thing, first of all, I'm going to gather information to see if he's going to tell me. But I think I'm definitely going to roll with so I'm just asking, I'm going to do wits. So we're going to do gather information here. And I'm going to give myself +1 because I think Fidget's likely to help me or answer the question if not. We're going to do wits. We're going to add 1. Weak hit. Information provides new insight, but also complicates your quest and vision what you discover. Then take +1. Well, as you say, they have a obsession with precursor vaults, and we have one here, and they want it very, very badly. We are not inclined to give up sovereignty of our planet for any reason, least of all them. We had worked out what we thought was a equitable bargain, but they immediately attempted to circumvent the conditions of the agreement, and we have been, what was the phrase you used, at loggerheads ever since, much to our cost, but also much to theirs. And I'd say that definitely complicates things much. It's possible we've never been able to access the precursor vaults either. As far as we know, no one in the sector has ever accessed any of the precursor vaults in this area. Perhaps we could with some help. That's maybe a discussion for a different time, I think. Can you help me with the small ones? Because I guarantee you the answer is no until then. Do I roll another compel? Do I need to roll another compel? Maybe? I think so. I think I do. But again, I'm going to take a +1 from Fidget, who's kind of giving him looks. I don't know what their deal is. I'm not sure what that relationship is. The fact that she kissed me when I got here might not make this simple. But in any case, hopefully she's willing to help. Charm, pacify, encourage, or barter. I think call this definitely bartering. And we'll add 1. I'm just going to go with the 1. But that is a strong hit anyway. That is a strong hit for the compel. Try to persuade someone to make them an offer. They'll do what you want and agree to your conditions. Take +1 momentum. Doesn't matter. I got a 10 anyway. So, all right. So we have an agreement here. They're going to help me with the kids, the little baby energy wisps. And we're going to help them potentially with whatever's going on with this precursor vault. Yikes. All right. Cool. Cool. We have, I'm going to call this more progress here on my vows and say that we have save small wisps from their misuse and help them. I'm going to mark that. Got them to agree there and mark a safe place for KA03. A003. Cool. All right. Find a safe place for K. All right. Save the small wisps from the museum. So since I already got this thing, I'm not going to roll the repair thing. I know how to make what I need to make to protect these things. And there's a lot going on here. There's actually an opportunity here. Probably I think there's a companion you could even get in Starforged that could probably map somewhat close to these little wisp guys, but I'm not really that interested in that particular kind of thing. But that's fine. All right. So first of all, we're going to try and resolve this. Save the small wisp for their misuse and help them. We'll cutscene of me building out all the stuff, and we'll do a fulfill roll here. That is a strong hit. 10 against a 3 and an 8. That is excellent. Save the small wisps from their misuse and help them. Resolved. Great. We're going to go over to legacies, and we will mark. That's 2 marks on the legacies track for quests, and also under connections, let's see. Let's make sure I'm getting this right. Under my connections move, develop your relationship. Completing a quest to their benefit. This helping these little guys is a promise that I had made to K. So that also counts as developing the relationship, so I can mark progress on my relationship with K as well, which is great. Mark that. Oh, we're getting where we can almost do something with them. And I think I'm looking at my vows, and I've got one here for finding a safe place for K. Find a safe place for K and get them. So this is the safest place I brought them. So I'm going to ask this guy as an addition to while they're working on this, are we going to be able to stay here? These wisps, you call them wisps and race. They need a place to be. I can't just keep them on the ship on the run forever. And they can help you and you can help them. Will you do that for them? And I'm going to see. I'm not going to try and do a compel on this. I'm just going to see if he'll say yes to that categorically. And I'm going to do that by trying to fulfill my safe place for K. That's how I'm not, it's not a skill check. I'm checking the conclusion. And if he says no, then that's the result of the thing. That's how we're going to do that. Ha! Oh! Ho! That's a strong hit with a match. Okay. Okay. I don't think I've ever done. Let's look at the move here. Quest moves. Fulfill your vow. On a strong hit, your vow is fulfilled. Mark a reward on your quest legacy track per the blah blah blah. It doesn't even have anything here for strong hit with a match. Mark a reward on your quest legacy track according to the vow's rank. All right. I'll worry about the opportunity here in a second, because that's obviously a thing. Okay, so that was formidable. Formidable is 3 ticks, right? Legacy. Mark. That's 2 more XP. 4. And I completed a quest on the behalf of K again. So we mark that again. That gets me up to 7 on K. Well, that's nerve-wracking. Now we're getting into the... Oh. Okay, so I don't know what the opportunity here is. I'm going to look at that here in a second. Something that Danielle Haid proposes. But I am going to forge a bond with K. That roll, I got 7 progress, and I get a weak hit on that. Because I got a damn 10. But, so, on a weak hit, everything from the strong hit, but they ask something more of you first. To gain the bond and the legacy reward, envision the nature of the request, and do it, or swear an iron vow to see it done. That's fine. I'm actually okay with that. So we'll do that here in just a second. And then you share a bond, mark a reward on your bond's legacy track per the connection's rank. Extreme, is it extreme? They are extreme, which means that I mark 2 boxes on my connections rank. Legacies. 2 boxes. Holy cats. Well, I'd said I was behind on my bonds, but I just fixed that problem. That's 4 more XP. I now have 9 XP unspent. Holy moly. Okay. So I say, is this going to work for you? Like, so hey, oh, what's the opportunity? Let's piece all this together here. We're going to go back over to the spaceborne opportunity. Let's do that, and we'll do a planet side up and just see which one makes the most sense. For now, what I'm going to say when I ask if they can have a safe place here, not only can we ensure them a safe location for as long as we remain a location that exists, you're welcome to call this place your home as well, Mr. Baxter. For as much as you'd like, I realize that you are a traveling person, a spacer, and calling a place home may not be to your best liking, but no, not at all. I'd like to have a safe spot to. But thank you. That means a lot. It's been a long while. I have a place that feels like someplace safe. It feels. Thank you. And I wonder. There isn't a lot I can worry about. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to, at least initially, I'm just going to say that automatic. We're going to raise the supply. They're gonna help top us up and stuff like that. Mechanically, that's just a thing. But we've got a safe spot here at Lagrange. That's a hell of a thing. Okay. Kay, is this going to work? Well, yes. I appreciate we found allies, Earl, but I'm troubled because of the words that you said. It implies that Meridian has many more of my kin, my little cousins, that they have more of these. We need to free them. We need to. I absolutely agree, Kay, and I promise you're familiar with this. And get Earl up here. I put my hand up to the little bit of metal that's hanging around his neck, right there. And you've seen me do this before. You know what this means. I swear to iron, I will find out where they have these little wisps, and I'll bring them back safety. My hand on iron. And I am gonna roll. So let's clean up the sheet here a little bit. We got these moves. No, we got bows. And we're going to modify here. We're going to get rid of this one. Yep, we don't need that guy. And I'm going to change this one from finding a safe place to decay to rescue the, we'll say, captured case of wisps from Meridian. That I'm going to keep it formidable because extreme that's crazy. That's for the really big stuff, and I don't think it's that. But yeah, definitely that. And that is, again, now I want to play around with this because I haven't done this before. Under the moves, forge a bond, develop your relationship. When you reinforce your relationship with a connection by doing any of the following: swearing a vow to undertake a perilous quest in their service, that's one of them. You can mark progress according to the rank of the connection. Now, again, they're a bond. They're not a connection. If you already share a bond with a connection, don't mark progress. Instead, you roll plus their rank to learn the impact on your legacy. So I roll plus their rank. K is a extreme, so I roll plus 4. Okay. And then on a strong hit, it marks 2 more ticks on your bond's legacy track. So I'm swearing a vow to my connection, and as a result, I'm going to roll. Oh boy, what do I need to roll here for this? Let's change my supply back to a 4 for a second. I'm going to do this. I'll roll plus supply. So I'm rolling and adding their rank to this thing now that I've sworn a bond to them, a thing to them. On a strong hit, you can mark 2 ticks on your bonds track. On a weak hit, you get plus 2 momentum. This reads as a weak hit, but I can burn my momentum to turn it into a strong hit. And I'm going to do that because I don't need the momentum. Taking the momentum bonus isn't going to do anything because I'm already at 10. And I'll burn my momentum to get 2 more, because that gives me now 2 more ticks in my bonds track, and that's 2 more XP. And now my bonds, my discoveries, and my quests are all at the same spot on my character sheet. They're all at the same level, bringing my total XP up to 30. Holy buckets. Yeah, 15 by 2, yeah. And 11 points unspent. When Earl rolls out of here onto his next thing, things are going to change. And hopefully I'm going to get some answers and stuff too. So that's a lot. Holy buck. So I took a strong hit on that, reset my stuff, and that I'm working with Mr. Haid here, and kind of want to create we'll worry about that. So some stuff to do here, maybe set up a connection with Haid, the station administrator, and I still have some conversations to have with Fidget, who's just been quietly hanging out in the background and providing me the random bonus and we found a place for K. Wow, a lot of stuff all ticked off there at the thing, and the upshot of that was, whew, that's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 XP in one. Ooh, that's a lot, folks. That is a lot to process all at once. So I'm going to pause right here with, I think the last thing Earl says was like, all right, let's get to work. And we'll just see what that means next time, because there's a lot to consider there. All right. Wow. All right. So I burned a fair amount of resources there, but boy, I'm going to have a lot to think on. When we come back next time, I'm going to be looking at what possible tweaks and asset stuff I'm going to do with the XP. Do some stuff with Fidget, and we've got some new goals. But before any of the stuff with Fidget is going to be the key thing, because I've still got one more vow I'm going to try to wrap up here, which is putting my friends to rest and getting some answers about what the hell happened with Surya's tribute and how this all connects to everything else. 2 sessions. I asked this question 2 sessions ago, and next session I might finally get some answers. I said we'd be spending some time here. Probably are. So it turns out to be true. All right, guys, thanks so much for the time. I hope that you're kind of chuffed about that. That was an interesting way for things to turn out. I would love to have that strong hit with K at the end to form the bond, but honestly, the weak hit works out just well because I was going to do a vow to go after that case of wisps anyway. So yeah, now I just need to figure out what the hell happened with Earl. That's probably gonna be the stuff that happens next time. Prepare to take some spirit damage. All right, that's all I got. I'm just gonna have to sit and think about everything else that just happened. Thanks everyone, and thanks so much for the comments and just the support. Really appreciate it. Talk to you soon.